Alright, Pundit says they just admitted XRP's real price, and here's why. What if I told you that the biggest players in traditional finance and tech just accidentally revealed the real blueprint for XRP's future? Imagine a room where BlackRock, Visa, MasterCard, Google, Stripe, and Coinbase are all sitting at the same table, making a massive power move. It sounds like a secret society meeting, but it's actually the brand new launch of a massive alliance called OpenUSD. A lot of people into crypto space are panicking, thinking this new dollar-backed stablecoin is going to destroy Ripple and render XRP completely useless. But a well-known market analyst on X named Ripple Bull Winkle just dropped a groundbreaking breakdown that completely flips this scary narrative on its head. If you are holding XRP right now, you need to understand that what just happened isn't a threat. It's a massive validation of everything we have been tracking. So let's bypass the surface level panic and look at exactly what happened behind the scenes. So let's start with our very first question about, is the new OpenUSD stablecoin alliance a hidden threat to XRP? So let's address the elephant in the room first. OpenUSD just launched with the backing of a massive consortium of over 140 companies. This isn't just a small startup project. It's being governed by an independent organization called Open Standard. Because Ripple is listed as a large partner alongside giants like Google and Visa, some people instantly jump to the conclusion that Ripple is abandoning its own goals to chase this new shiny object. Even worse, OpenUSD isn't launching on the XRP ledger initially. It's starting on Solana, Stellar Base, and Polygon. Now, here's my own opinion. When I first saw this news cross my radar, my immediate reaction wasn't fear. It was fascination. So as a market observer, I see this as an absolute chess move by Ripple. They aren't trying to fight the ocean. They are making sure they own a piece of the infrastructure. By joining OpenUSD while simultaneously building their own stablecoin, RLUSD, Ripple is effectively hedging their bets. If OpenUSD dominates, Ripple wins as a founding partner. If RLUSD takes off on the XRP ledger, Ripple wins there too. It is a win-win scenario that shows immense maturity from the corporate team. Now, why does OpenUSD hurt Circle and Tether more than Ripple? To understand why this is actually good for us, we have to look at who this project is actually targeting. When OpenUSD entered the market, Circle's stock took a visible hit. So the question is why? Because OpenUSD changes the entire economic model of stablecoins. Traditional giants like Tether and Circle keep all the interest income generated from the cash reserves backing their token. OpenUSD, on the other hand, distributes those reserve earnings among its 140 plus participating partners. Now, here's my opinion. This is where the true genius of the alliance lies. OpenUSD is a direct attack on the monopolies of USDT and USDC, not on XRP. For years, I've argued that stablecoins are just the digital representation of fiat money, whereas XRP is an independent bridge asset. Ripple's participation in this alliance gives them a massive seat at the table with traditional finance heavyweights. It bridges the gap between old corporate money and new decentralized rails, putting Ripple in an incredibly powerful positioning spot for the rest of 2026. Now, is XRP really just a flawed token used only for transaction fees? One of the most common criticisms you will hear from skeptics is that XRP's only real purpose on the network is to be burned as a transaction fee. They argue that because the fee burned per transaction is incredibly minuscule, there is no real economic engine driving the price upward. So here's my opinion. This argument is one of the most short-sighted takes in the entire crypto industry. Thinking XRP is only valuable for transaction fees is like thinking an airplane is only valuable because of the seatbelt buckled in your chair. The fee burning mechanism was strictly designed as a security feature to prevent malicious actors from spamming the network with fake traffic. It was never meant to be the core value driver. So as an observer of these market cycles, I look at the macro architecture, and the architecture tells us that XRP's true power lies in 4 entirely different areas. So what are the 4 real utilities that drive XRP's true value? According to the analysis shared by Ripple Bull Winkle right here, XRP functions as a multi-layered financial tool. First, it acts as a universal bridge asset for instant cross-border settlements. Second, it serves as the primary trading pair for liquidity pools, including Ripple's own RLUSD. Third, it is built to support the massive upcoming wave of tokenized real-world assets like real estate and bonds. And fourth, it is the native settlement asset for the highly anticipated institutional lending protocol being developed directly for the network. Now, here's my opinion. When you stack these 4 pillars together, you realize that XRP is being positioned as the ultimate settlement layer for an entirely new digital economy. It allows a bank in one country to exchange value with a bank in another country instantly, without needing to hold massive idle balances of foreign fiat currency. This is where the utility scales up. We aren't talking about retail traders buying coffee. We are talking about institutional infrastructure moving trillions of dollars of value across a highly secure blockchain. So, will the speculation ever be enough to sustaining XRP's long-term price? We all love a good hype cycle. We all love seeing viral posts predicting crazy numbers based on chart patterns or retail excitement. But as we move deeper into this year of 2026, the reality of supply and demand is becoming impossible to ignore. Every single month, Ripple releases a set amount of XRP from escrow to support business operations, though a significant portion is routinely relocked back into the system. So here's my opinion. Relying on retail hype or temporary excitement is a dangerous game for any investor. Hype can pump an asset for a week, but only real, sustained organic demand can keep a price floor elevated. For XRP to achieve lasting, long-term price appreciation, the demand coming from institutional utility, ETF inflows, and tokenized assets must consistently outweigh both the monthly escrow releases and standard market selling pressure. True wealth in this market isn't created by chasing green candles. It's created by recognizing structural demand before the rest of the world catches on. And now, here's our overall conclusion. When we review the full scope of this development, the launch of OpenUSD isn't a funeral for XRP. It is a validation of the exact corporate ecosystem Ripple has been building for years. By embedding themselves into a 140-company alliance that includes the absolute kings of global finance, Ripple has secured its relevance at the highest levels of institutional trade. XRP's value will never be defined by internet memes or short-term retail speculation. Instead, its future price is mathematically tied to the expansion of real-world usage, regulatory progress, and a massive shift toward tokenizing real-world assets on the ledger. The OpenUSD alliance proves that traditional finance is ready to adopt stable digital structures, and Ripple has successfully positioned itself to benefit no matter which token takes the lead. So stay grounded in the data, keep your eyes on the real infrastructure growth, and let the long-term utility do the heavy lifting. And this finally ends our video. Thank you very much for watching, and see you on the next one, or you might just as well check this next recommended video right here.